I'm Hope Montgomery for the 4 o'clock music hour. We're here today at KHDX 93.1, and Garrett Hinson is with us for an interview and some live music. Garrett's out of Trenton, Tennessee, a small town about 2 hours north of Memphis, and he's recorded 2 albums, one with his Trenton band, his high school band called Hockaday, and they recorded an album called Nothingness, and his latest solo album is called Hollabody. The coolest thing about Hollabody is that this album was recorded in Garrett's home studio that he calls the X. And Garrett, would you like to tell us a little bit about the X?
Sure. Me and my dad started working in the gym of my high school the day after I graduated, and we were tearing out bleachers, these like big wooden boards from the 70s. And a few months later, my dad decided that we would build a studio for me using those boards as roof beams, or roof covering rather. And so we built that out of scrap basically that he had from jobs that he works as a carpenter. And a few months later we had a studio called the X, which he named.
Any idea why he named it that?
Yeah, there's a ZZ Top song called "I Heard It on the X," talking about this like underground radio station in Texas, and he's pretty big into ZZ Top, so he called it that, and it seemed to fit, so he kept it.
Oh, cool. How was the recording process for your latest album Hollabody, different from recording Nothingness with Hockaday?
With Nothingness, we paid this guy from Lambeth University, which is a college in Jackson, to record it and produce it for us. Basically, we were only playing the instruments, and everything else was under his supervision. I mean, he had most of the control over the album. And with Hollabody, since it was in my studio and very few hands touched it, it was mostly under my control and my friend Sam, who produced it.
On the back of your album, there's a little part that says that I think it says the sound engineer or the studio engineer, Seth Hinson, and that's your little brother, helping you record. Is that so?
Yeah. Because it's our studio and we don't have studio hands or anything, I had to get Seth to push the buttons for me on the other side because you're separated by a sound wall that's like impenetrable to sound or whatever. And I had to have somebody on the other end pushing the buttons or else I couldn't start the recording. So that was my little brother Seth, who's like 11 now.
That's pretty cool. I think that now we'll go ahead and let you play your first song. Play something off of Hollabody.
Okay. This one's called An Unreachable Standard. Lately I'm trying to free up my mind from things that I just can't control. So I'm planning on meeting this girl I've been seeing and driving around in the car. I've come to the conclusion that people are all just disappointments that are waiting to fall from these towering pedestals that I place them on, till there's no one left standing when I finish my song, saying, oh my God, what happened here? What happened here? Lately I'm thinking of things I believed in, how fragile those ideas were. They say those thoughts you subscribe to serve only to blind you, but I know that I'll never learn. With concepts of love that we're quick to protect, and realities we still refuse to accept. With my resolute heart and my cowboy complex, that unreachable standard, what could I expect? Saying, oh my God, what happened here? What happened here? It could have easily been you. So don't you put on that pride. I'm sure you get heavy boots every once in a while. I speak when spoken to, but I won't tell a lie. 'Cause I've been craving some truth, but it's in such short supply. Saying, oh my God, what happened here? What happened here?
That's great. Thanks, Garrett. So that was Unreachable Standard, and that came off of Hollow Body, right? And that album came out in February 2012.
That's right.
So it's about a year ago now. It's been a little over a year. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what the album meant to you then and as you wrote it, compared to what it might mean to you now, if the meaning has changed?
When I wrote it, I think a lot of the themes were really dark, and it was an album about disappointment. It was an album about being disappointed in people, whether that's the person you're in a relationship with or your friends. And it's just overwhelming disappointment, and that kind of casts a shadow over the songs, I guess. But now looking back, even though it's only been a year, some of the things I was writing about are at least 2 or 3 years old, so it's kind of got this nostalgic feel to it now, because it's a different phase of my life. It's sort of behind me, so I can look back at it with more nostalgia than sadness now, I think.
All right. What influence do you think that this album took on it, as far as other musicians or anything?
This album especially sounds a lot like a Conor Oberst album, I think. Now I don't think I'll ever write that same kind of song that same way again. I don't think I could do it. But just the way that you're blending imagery in with these kind of metaphysical subjects, it's just, yeah, I see a lot of Oberst in it.
That's interesting. Would you say that it's pretty different from your Hockaday album, or how would you compare those two albums?
I think that it's a similar style. I think, at least in songwriting, Hollow Body is what Nothingness wanted to be, and failed, I guess. I don't think it failed, but it was just a more immature approach, because it was my first set of songs, and Hollow Body was really me saying what I wanted to say all along, just in a better delivery, I guess.
Okay. Let's hear another song. Another Hollow Body song?
Okay.
All right.
This one's called Among the Weeds. New England swallowed up my first love without a thought. and I had to close my eyes to see anything at all. And out among all of the weeds with all the wild animals, life goes on, it just goes on. The city hummed business signs as we crossed over the edge. And there were eyes and there were tongues, but every single ear was deaf. There's other girls, man-eaters, they were comforting at best. I held my breath, I held my breath. And there was nobody to talk to in between the cannon bursts. A voice that could have been unstoppable, pulverized by written word. Don't you dare cut me free now, I'll be a refuge for your love. And will they put you in the movies? I wonder, will it be enough? Will it be enough? Punches washed off his hands, you got on your aeroplane. I always lived by the pen, and I died by it that day. So for God's sake, ease me out, so I don't make those same mistakes. If I may, if I may. And there was nobody to talk to in between the cannon bursts. A force that could have been unstoppable, pulverized by written word. Don't you dare cut me free now, I'll be a refuge for your love. And when they put you in the movies, I wonder, will it be enough? 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 And there was nobody to talk to in between the cannon bursts. A force that could have been unstoppable, pulverized by written word. Don't you dare cut me free now, I'll be a refuge for your love. And when they put you in the movies, I wonder, will it be enough? Will it be enough? Will it be enough? Will it be enough? Will it be enough?
Thank you. That was Among the Weeds by Garrett Hinson. So before you started playing that song, you kind of commented on you don't think you'll ever play something that sounds the way that Hollow Body ever did again. So how do you think your sound is changing, if that's so?
First, I mean, the subject matter has changed, so that's gonna change the material. I don't think I'm in as bleak of a place right now, so I'm kind of experimenting with some storytelling elements. I'm trying to show rather than tell. I want to make people feel the things that I'm feeling without having to come out and say that I'm happy, say that I'm sad, but instead put it in a narrative or put it in, an object or description, which I've tampered with before, but I think it's really starting to take over my style recently. So.
Do you think it's important for an artist to be able to change as far as musically, lyrically?
I think it's important to stay true to what your vision is, and if your vision isn't changing, then you're probably not out in the world experiencing new things and being exposed to different perspectives. So in that sense, I think it's important to be able to change, just to adapt to that vision. I don't know that it's necessarily important for you to be able to play drastically different
Right.
styles or anything, but I think you need to be able to adapt.
Okay. So I guess that leads to my next question, kind of asking about your writing process. I know a lot of times, as a musician myself, some people come to you a lot and they ask you, how do you write songs? So the question I always get is, do you write lyrics first or melodies first? And so what's kind of your tactic at the writing process?
I wish I had one tactic that I could stick to. But a lot of times what happens is I will just subconsciously or totally unconsciously start singing a first line with a melody, whatever that first line is. And
We got some loud people outside the booth
okay.
right now.
But I'll start singing the first line when I'm doing something.
I don't know what's going on out there. Alright, go on. I'm sorry.
So I'll start singing the first line with words while I'm washing dishes or, driving without thinking about it, and then I'll realize that I've sang the line and start building off of it. And a lot of times I don't know what I'm writing about until the second or third line, and then I start to understand as the song takes shape. So
That's interesting. Let's go ahead and hear one more off Hollow Body. Is that okay?
that's cool. Yeah.
We may hear another one in a second.
This is called Lover Suitors Outlaws. Are you lovers up against the wall? Last cigarette for one and all. With your sunglasses like holes in your hair, looking indifferent and calm. Are you lovers up against the wall? Are you suitors lying at her feet? While I wander down in Tennessee, keep your dreams on the dresser till morning and try your best to get some sleep. Are you suitors lying at her feet? Someone who's so far gone, she ain't never coming back. I'm in a trance of circumstance, but it don't pay to live like that. No, no. Are you outlaws trying to go straight? Buckle your belt and keep your hands in place. 'Cause that ideal love you've been dreaming of is farther than outer space. Are you outlaws trying to go straight? I miss someone who's so far gone. She ain't never coming back. I'm in a trance of circumstance. It don't pay to live like that. So when you finally think you understand all the patterns underneath of what is done and said, and the numbers just get out of hand, 'cause there ain't nothing black and white about the promised land. So we better form another plan, 'cause it seems that we were never meant to understand it all. I miss someone so far gone. She ain't never coming back. I'm in a trance of circumstance. It don't pay to live like that. No, no.
Thank you. That was good. All right. So following that that song, I thought I'd ask a little bit about how making music has been different in your solo career compared to working with a band, and how those two things been different.
Yeah. With Hockaday, my band back in high school, there was a lot of camaraderie, I guess. The songs were shared in a sense, and that was really nice because it felt like every time we took the stage, I felt like we had these 11 songs or so that were ours that I'd written, but that we had come up with together, and they were each like this unique weapon in a belt of, a utility belt of songs, I guess. And I looked forward to sharing the songs, each new one I wrote, with the guys, and going upstairs and hashing them out and coming up with parts. And that was a great experience. But then with the solo thing, they're mine, and they are like dimensions of me, more so than when I was in a band and sharing them. I can point to those and say those are Garrett Hinson songs, and those are an accurate representation of what was going on with me at the time. And even though that's maybe a more lonely way to look at it, it is kind of empowering too to be able to call this set of songs Garrett Hinson songs. It's nice. I don't know.
Would you say that Hollow Body is more personal in that way than Nothingness?
I don't know if it necessarily had anything to do with the band being in on it as far as the Nothingness album, but I think Hollow Body is a more personal album because everybody that played parts or helped produce were just friends in it to make the record sound great. It wasn't us going in a recording and handing it over to somebody we didn't really know to make it sound better. It was just totally homogenous. We did everything on our own, and it's pretty true to our vision as far as sound and presentation.
Right, cool. So we've talked a lot about Hollow Body, and we've kind of mentioned back to Nothingness a little bit. Where do you see yourself going from here?
Yeah, I want to keep writing music forever. I've got probably half an album written for an upcoming recording that'll be Garrett Hinson as well. And I'm liking how those songs are taking shape. I've been up in Nashville for 2 years now, and it's a hard scene to break into. So I don't know if my future lies there, but I wanna keep playing and not just let it become a hobby. I want to get out and share it with people as much as I can. I don't know if Nashville's the place to do it, but I still see that in my future.
You mentioned sharing music. Like, why is that important for any musician?
I don't know. I think part of it is just wanting to know that somebody else out there feels that way. I think part of it is maybe, and this isn't how an artist likes to think of himself, but maybe it is partly validation. I don't know how much of it is, but I know that when someone hears my songs and they think it's great, that makes me feel great as well. And then, I genuinely enjoy playing music in front of people. I think it's a good way to fellowship. I don't know if that's kind of a strange word to use, but I think
maybe community.
It just brings people together in a way that is intimate, even in a 30,000 seat arena. You're sharing something with somebody else, and it's personal. I just believe in that connection. So.
Yeah. We talked a little bit about how your music changed from nothingness into Hollow Body. How do you think you're going to change for this next album?
Like I said, the style is kind of taking this storytelling dimension on that I'm really enjoying working with, and I think it's going to end up being a great set of songs. As far as who I'm playing with and where I'm playing, I've pretty much kept a steady group of friends who back me up, and I still practically have a band. It's just got a few more people, and it's a little looser in its membership, but I've still got those 4 or 5 guys that are always there to back me up, and I think they're becoming a part of my sound too, as far as their individual styles. So,
who are those? Who are these people you consider loose band members?
I don't want to leave anybody out, so hopefully I won't forget anybody. But there's Sam Raines, he produced the the Hollow Body album. He is a wizard with Pro Tools, but he also is a great songwriter and is nice enough to do backing vocals and rhythm guitar for me. Alex Jones, who was actually the drummer in Hockaday, does bass for us now, and he's stepped into that really well. Sid Barton and Bo Kitzman both drum for us and are both really talented musicians. And then Chad Carnes plays some acoustic guitar and does some backup vocals, and he's a great singer in his own right.
Yeah. So you talk about some storytelling. Let's hear. Can we hear a new one?
Yeah.
That features some of the storytelling you've been talking about.
The one that probably represents that style the best is the one called Gateway to the West.
Okay.
Clearing off my desk, finally gonna write my novel, Gateway to the West. Chapter 1 begins with our hero in the doorway full of emptiness. This girl just up and left, ran off with a faceless stranger, now his heart won't rest. So he called his good friend Jim, called him with a big idea, let's go to St. Louis. So they blazed a trail from motel to motel, and the car broke down in some fictitious town far from anywhere. In a little town close by, Chapter 2 opens with our hero's traveling light. They're counting out their dimes, while a pretty girl who's bussing tables looks at them and smiles. She says, "You two are a mess, but I think I can get you to the gateway to the west." She clocked out by the desk, took them to the car, and hit the jukebox as she left. And our hero drives with Jim on his right side, and the girl just leans over between the seats and calls directions out. Then in chapter 3, the arch broke through the skyline and she kissed them on the cheeks. What a pretty place to be. I think we should stick around and see what we can see. And later they'll get tired of running, come of age, run out of money. He and Jim will both fall for the girl. And I'll have to kill the Christ figure off, quote Shakespeare and twist the plot, and all the while I'll let the theme unfurl. Oh, what a world. But for now, I guess I'll let 'em enjoy it, to breathe, to rest in the gateway to the west, to the west.
Nice, thank you. So do you think this element of storytelling changes? Of course, it changes the way you write songs, but do you think that it makes the album less personal or anything in that?
Well, maybe it's less personal in the sense that I'm not spilling my guts explicitly for you, but it's not less personal at all in the sense that it's part of me, and it's what I'm feeling, it's what I'm going through, and there's little parts of me throughout. I mean, even though there's stories, that's not to say that they're not biographical, at least in some sense. And I think in a lot of ways people can relate to stories more than they can relate to just, general feelings and me saying that I'm, again, happy or sad. I think a story has ways of making people feel things just like confessional songwriting does.
Right. What influences do you see this next album drawing from?
Josh Ritter, definitely. Josh Ritter's been huge for these last couple songs. He's a master of the narrative in song form, and he's been a huge influence, no doubt. There's still Conor Roburst in there. There's a lot of different things going on with this one, but Josh Ritter is definitely the biggest.
Okay. Do you think your writing style is changing with this album? Storytelling. I guess I'm asking more musically. Is the writing style?
I don't think I'm branching into another genre or anything like that. I think I definitely have a more sophisticated knowledge of chords, and maybe, hopefully, I'm getting better at recognizing good melodies from just okay melodies. I think I'm getting a better ear for that kind of thing. But as far as, I think I'm just getting better at what I'm doing as far as playing rather than changing. But if you can consider that change, I'm getting better.
We will consider that change. Let's go ahead and hear another one off of there.
Okay. So, a new one, right?
Right.
Okay. This one's called A Sad Apparition. I was a sad apparition, walking through walls, Pacing the floor of my usual haunts, I barely recall how my body was lost all those many years ago. Then one evening I saw her up in the belfry, a beautiful specter, a ghost just like me. So I asked her to dance on the tops of chimneys. We went swaying to and fro, and I was a whisper, I was a vapor, little darling. But when I kissed you, I felt myself change back into a man, brought back from the dead. So we found ourselves back in the physical sphere, back at the mercy of space, time, and fear. And on cold winter nights, we started to hear all those spirits all around. So I held her so tight while the seance began, and envious ghosts came and tugged at our hands, saying nothing turns out quite like you planned upon this lonely ground. And I was afraid, in fact I was shaking, little darling, but I know it ain't right to live like a ghost when you know you're a man, and I know I am. So maybe we live, maybe we die, that just ain't what counts. See, you helped me, and I helped you, and I think that's what life's about. La da da da, 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 la da da da.
Yeah, thank you. That was good. So we've heard, how many songs have we heard of the newest, 2 or 3? All right, couldn't remember there for a second. So content-wise for this next album, you called Body an album of disappointment. Do you know what we can expect off the next album? Can you reveal to us any kind of theme there? Do you know yet?
Oh, man, that's tough. I think it's always easier to see in retrospect,
Right.
because you can kind of remove yourself from it for a while and then go back and kind of figure out what the hell you were doing, I don't know, as far as an emotional truth or something like that. I don't know if there's a common thread that I could pull out for you right now, but I think just the narrative style is more what links all these songs together, because they all kind of deal with their own issue. But I think the fact that they're telling stories, that's kind of the link.
Okay. I'll ask you one that you may not be able to answer this, but have you started throwing around names or anything? Do you know what we can expect in?
I don't know. I've had epiphanies, nothing that I'm just dead set on. A lot of the songs have this formula to where they set this big scene and they kind of leave you hanging. They just kind of end, and you're left wondering what happened to the characters or with the plot. So I've thought of the concept of just stories without endings. I don't know how I would word that, but that's something that's occurred to me. But I won't tell you that that's the album's
Okay.
name or anything.
That's fair. That's fair enough. Yeah, let's go ahead and hear another one.
Okay. This one's called The Contender. Way off in the middle, where poets go to die, where ink pens bring a nickel, and your soul will bring a dime. I was ushered in on horseback with a blindfold round my eyes, and they called me the contender, though I did not know the prize. Yes, I am the contender, though I never felt at home. Yes, I was the contender, and my voice is still my own. Way off in the middle, I was shaking in my boots. I was told to be a number until I'd paid my dues. Pointing at the auditorium, well, they said I'd be there soon, and they called me the contender, though I only sang the blues. Yes, I am the contender, though I never felt at home. Yes, I am the contender, and my voice is still my own. In the shadows of the dead, an iconic countryman, I was ushered into bleak obscurity, and deep inside my den, unable to contend, woe is me, woe is me. Yes, I was the contender, though I never felt at home. Yes, I was the contender, and my voice is still my own. Yes, I was the contender, though I never felt at home. Yes, I was the contender, and my voice is still my own.
That was the contender. I like that one. We only have a few minutes left, so I'm gonna ask you a few more, and then I still want you to take us out with a song.
Okay.
First of all, I just wanna, as a last just question to get in, is there any advice you would give to any musician as they try to take on writing and performing? What would be your resounding advice?
For someone who's just starting?
Yeah, sure.
If you're just starting to write songs, and especially if you're frustrated with it, don't get frustrated. I think
Easier said than done.
it is easier said than done, but I know that it wasn't until I just pushed my way through that first song and just ground it out and finally had one song that I could point to and say, I've written one, I know it wasn't until that moment that I could, really feel comfortable with sitting down and trying to write. And so I would say just, grind through those first songs and get those out, and then you'll probably be more comfortable with sitting down and writing.
And what about performing? Any advice there?
For performing, I guess it depends on the genre or the audience, but I would just say enjoy it. And if you don't enjoy playing live, if it's giving you anxiety, then just step back and say, what am I really doing? Because all you're doing is performing a set of songs that, you wrote. They're art, but you can't take it too seriously. It's just you're singing these songs in front of people, and a year from now you'll be playing somewhere else. You're just trying to share that moment with them. So, don't get too bogged down at the idea of presenting some kind of grand masterpiece. Just enjoy it for what it is.
Right. And finally, I just want to give you a chance to kind of tell us where we can find your music, for people who are looking to buy, who are looking to find you, where your places to go.
Right. Well, you can like Garrett Hinson on Facebook. It's just under my name, GarrettHinson. You can buy the Hollow Body album on iTunes, and hopefully the new album once it is recorded and finished. I have a Twitter account, Garrett Hinson, and there's a SoundCloud account under Garrett Hinson as well, where you can download, I think, 5 of the tracks off of Hollow Body for free. So if you're wanting to give it a shot without committing any money, I guess look me up on SoundCloud and download those 5. And if you like what you hear, then you're welcome to go buy them on iTunes as well.
Cool. We've mentioned a little bit of the Nothingness album. Is there still any way to get that if people are interested?
That's more hard to come by. I guess if you really want Nothingness, then you can email me about it. And I'll personally mail that to you. I'd be glad to. Email me at GarrettSHinson@gmail.com, and if you're a real super fan, then I'll send that to you.
Well, there you have it. Let's hear one more song. You can close this out.
Sure. This one's called Eva Saris. Dancing like a baby songbird, holding hands with your dear mother. As I watched, I had to wonder, would you get your sadness from her? Even in your rapid Spanish, I could hear the seeds of damage. Oh, my little Eva Saris, you make me wanna cry. You make me wanna cry. I thought of your quinceañera, all those flowers in your hair. Would you meet your sadness there? Sweet unknowing Eva Saris, even in your pretty flower dress, I could see the seeds of damage. Oh, my little Eva Saris, you make me wanna cry. You make me wanna cry. It's some family curse you'd gained in time to come of age, yet fade away, away. I hope you read lots of fiction in your mother's tiny kitchen, as your older brothers listen. And I hope you have strength and vision, even when you meet your sadness. Try and see the good for what it is. Oh, my little Eva Sarahs, you make me wanna cry. You make me wanna cry. You make me wanna cry. You make me wanna cry.
That was Eva Saris, and that will be on the next album. Garrett, thank you for coming out. It was a fantastic show.
Yeah, it was a pleasure.
You can, like he said, you can find him on his Facebook at Garrett Hinson, Garrett Hinson. Also SoundCloud and iTunes. So if you're interested, definitely check him out. And Garrett, thanks for coming. Everyone, you're listening to KHDX 93.1, and thanks for listening.